revealed. 3 divine keys to overcome overthinking and find heavenly peace in 40 days. In the enchanting village of St. Mary's, where cobblestone paths twinkle beneath ancient oaks, Sarah knelt at the altar, her heart a battlefield of faith and doubt. The flickering candles created dancing shadows, and that night, the air was electric with the divine presence of God. The vibrant stained glass glimmered as if heaven itself were spilling into the church, declaring, "Hope lives here." As she closed her eyes and drew a deep breath, it felt like angels caressed her soul, whispering promises of tranquility amidst her chaotic thoughts. With every prayer, she battled the relentless waves of overthinking. Burdens wrapped around her spirit like heavy chains, tethering her to fears about her family's future. Yet in this sacred place, an unmistakable energy flickered, igniting a spark of possibility. Suddenly, she felt it. A shiver ran down her spine, tingling with holy electric comfort, hinting that a divine revelation awaited her. The door creaked open, allowing moonlight to spill into the sanctuary as her pastor stepped inside, his presence radiating wisdom. He spoke of 3 divine keys: surrender, gratitude, and community. Each word crackled like fireworks in the softly illuminated room. As the congregation leaned in, Sarah gasped. Could these keys truly unlock her heart and release the burdens she carried? Could serenity really be found? She felt the pull, a divine invitation to embrace the mystery of faith, urging her to break free. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the weeks of the retreat unfurled, an air of expectancy enveloped Sarah every evening. Yet with the promise of peace came the echoes of her inner skeptic. Each prayer service built upon the last, and she watched the faces around her glow in moments of divine connection. The Spirit of God moved effortlessly, weaving threads of hope, as laughter mingled with tears. But in her heart, the question lingered like fog on a chilly morning. Could she truly release her worries? One unforgettable evening, the atmosphere brimmed with anticipation. Under a canopy of flickering candles, they gathered in prayer, their voices weaving a celestial tapestry of devotion. Just as Sarah began to surrender her last fragments of control, a light erupted in the midst of the congregation. A radiant glow shimmered, reflecting the beauty of their shared faith. Whispers and gasps echoed, filling the air without a wave of peace washed over her, igniting her heart with newfound fervor. It was like swimming in a river of grace. Among the sea of believers, she witnessed hope flourish, igniting a fire within her soul and illuminating every shadow that had clouded her thoughts. Was this moment meant for her? Or did it speak of something greater, a purpose awaiting revelation? As the retreat proceeded, her wrestling continued, each revelation only leading to more questions. The journey led her to wonder what it truly meant to embrace a life of peace. Would she muster the courage to pursue it? With each shimmering day, Sarah's heart deepened in its quest for heavenly tranquility, a pursuit wrapped in divine mystery, whispering promises of what lay ahead. The morning light poured gently through the stained glass windows, painting the sacred space with hues of hope. Sarah awoke with a heart lighter than it had been in days, a feeling that she was on the brink of something beautiful. It was as if a slumbering part of her soul had stirred, awakened by the promise of surrender she had cherished the night before. Today, the retreat would focus on the first divine key, surrender. As they gathered in the hushed chapel, the murmurs of anticipation filled the air. Sarah could see it on the faces of her fellow believers in eagerness, a shared understanding of the journey that lay before them. Everyone wanted to shed their burdens and bask in the peace of Goddess love. The pastor stepped forward, his voice resonating through the stillness. To surrender is to release what weighs us down, to trust in God's plan beyond our understanding, he said. Each syllable struck a chord, reverberating in the hearts of the congregation. Sarah's thoughts drifted to her family, the uncertainty that loomed like a dark cloud. Tears welled in her eyes as she realized how deeply she clung to control. As he encouraged them to close their eyes and picture their burdens, Sarah did just that. She envisioned her fears as fraying ropes, tightly wound around her spirit. Taking a deep breath, she imagined handing these cords over to God, feeling lightness surge within her. In that brief moment, there was clarity, a whisper of divine assurance that everything would be all right. The pastor's voice faded into the backdrop, transforming into a rhythmic hymn of grace. Her heart began to swell with an exquisite longing to set all anxieties aside. With her hands lifted to the sky, she whispered, "Lord, I surrender all I am, all I fear. I trust you." At that moment, a soft breeze swept through the sanctuary, brushing against her cheek. Felt tender, like a lover's caress. The congregation collectively inhaled, filling their lungs with sacred anticipation. Quiet gasps filled the room. Suddenly, a soft giggle echoed in the stillness, and Sarah turned to see a young girl in the front pew, eyes sparkling like stars. The girl's innocence reminded Sarah of the simplicity of faith. Faith wasn't meant to be complicated. It was about trusting without reservation, embracing the divine mysteries that danced just beyond their grasp. As the service drifted along, Sarah felt emboldened. She found her voice among the wave of believers, proclaiming her release. The fears that had gripped her heart began to disintegrate, replaced by an inexplicable sense of peace. It was there she understood. To embrace surrender was to trust in the grand tapestry God was weaving in her life. As the sun began to set, casting golden rays through the stained glass, they concluded with shared testimonies of grace. Each story shared deepened the congregation's bond, a reflection of their unified journey. Sarah realized community was an integral part of this path to tranquility, a collective sanctuary where hearts intertwined in vulnerability, ready to support each other. Yet still, a new question emerged in her heart. What might the second key, gratitude, unlock in her spiritual journey? With the clouds of uncertainty lifting, Sarah felt anticipation blossom anew. There, she stood, ready to seek wisdom of what lay ahead, as a flicker of divine understanding danced at the edge of her soul. What treasure would reveal itself next? As the new day dawned, the sun rose like a golden promise above the chapel, illuminating each person with hopeful energy. Sarah took a moment to linger in the quiet, basking in the warmth of the morning light and the anticipation of uncovering the second divine key, gratitude. The air was alive with whispers of possibility as she gathered with the others. Many shared smiles and encouragement, the sense of community reminding Sarah of the strength found in unity. Today, the retreat would guide them deeper into the heart of Thanksgiving, a path to freedom from what once held them captive. The pastor stepped into the light, his face glowing with love and purpose. "Gratitude transforms our perspective," he proclaimed. "And when we choose to see our blessings, our burdens seem lighter." His words resonated powerfully within Sarah. Lighter. She felt a spark of change ignite. Urgency blossomed in her heart. He invited them to close their eyes again, to reflect on the gifts they had received. Sarah took a deep breath and began to count her blessings, each one like a glimmer of light in her heart. Her family, her health, the beauty of this gathering. She felt a wave of warmth for each. The burdens that once loomed over her began to fade, overshadowed by the richness of her gratitude. As she opened her eyes, she noticed tears glistening on the cheeks of her fellow attendees. They were not tears of sorrow but of release. A gentle hum of joy began to fill the chapel as people began to share their blessings aloud. Each declaration sparked a new wave of understanding. The sacred space felt charged with divine love, weaving together each unique experience into a larger narrative of hope. A woman's voice rose softly, recounting how her daughter's laughter had once lifted her from despair. A man spoke of how he found peace amidst hardship, all because of his community's unwavering support. With every shared story, Sarah felt her heart stretch, entwining with the heartfelt expressions surrounding her. "Gratitude is the key," the pastor reminded them, eyes gleaming with conviction. "It unlocks doors to deeper joy and opens our hearts to receive God's abundance." The simple gesture of acknowledging their blessings spread warmth throughout the congregation. Sarah felt the heaviness of past worries slip further away as her heart swelled, filled to the brim with appreciation. She began to realize that her furthest fears paled in comparison to the mighty power of thankfulness. As the service continued, a thunderstorm brewed outside, dark clouds gathering ominously against the once bright sky. It roared as though nature sought to steal their joy. Yet, in that very moment, Sarah sensed a profound lesson. Even when storms arrive, choosing gratitude can illuminate the darkest days. With every clap of thunder, Sarah found herself smiling, knowing the tempest outside would pass, much like her worries. The congregation began to laugh, embracing the playful nature of their shared experience. Laughter echoed from the walls, creating a sanctuary where fear dissipated. What might she discover next? With the third key on the horizon, how could love, the ultimate gift, bridge the gap between burdens and gratitude? Sarah's heart raced with anticipation, eager to delve deeper into this divine mystery. There was so much more to unveil. As the laughter rippled through the chapel, Sarah felt an unshakable joy take root within her. The storm outside may have raged, but within these walls, a sanctuary of transformation thrived. There was an energy that coursed through the space, as if the very air vibrated with spirits alive in devotion and gratitude. When the pastor asked for them to share the burdens they were ready to release, Sarah's heart raced. A gentle nudge from the Holy Spirit urged her to speak, to open up about the fears that had long haunted her. She stood, feeling the weight of vulnerability pressing on her, yet knowing this was part of the journey necessary, healing. "I've carried the fear of failure," Sarah admitted, her voice steady yet laced with emotion. "Every step forward has worried me. Yet today I choose to let that go." A murmur of understanding filled the room. Others nodded, sharing glances that affirmed they weren't alone in this fight. The pastor smiled gently, encouraging more to speak as the storm outside roared in defiance, as if summoned by their honesty. The wind howled louder, thrashing against the windows. And yet, it felt as if God was using this very storm to coax the church onward deeper into the gift of community, and the safety found in spoken faith. Point one after another. Hearts opened. A young man shared how he had struggled with anxiety, feeling paralyzed by the world's expectations. A mother spoke of the daily challenges of parenting, how sometimes love could feel like an overwhelming task. Each story, another candle lit against the tempest outside, illuminating paths of shared experience and mutual love. Love, the pastor gently proclaimed, is the ultimate remedy. It is the language of heaven, the very essence of our creation. His words wrapped around them like a comforting blanket. Today, we are called to love not just ourselves but one another even in our messiness. A warm cheer arose as the congregation embraced this truth, sowing seeds of connection. Sarah felt her heart swell further, filled to the brim with understanding. Love was more than just an emotion. It was an action, a choice. She began to grasp that it was this divine love that would carry her toward the next key. Suddenly, she became aware of the unrelenting storm outside. Lightning illuminated the sky in bright flashes, followed by rumbling echoes. It was a reminder of chaos, yet it could also be a beacon of clarity. Sarah thought of how love endured beyond the storm. It was constant, unlike fear. In that moment, a profound realization struck Sarah. Love led them all closer together, dissolving loneliness and pain. It beckoned hope and offered strength. How had she not seen it before? Love had the power to shift her focus away from worry, creating a new perspective forged by gratitude and community. As they gathered closer, holding hands in a circle, the storm's fury seemed to retreat, allowing soft rays of light to filter through the clouds. They prayed together, a chorus of voices rising up in unison. Sarah felt that unmistakable presence of God among them, infused with peace, lifting every burden. Her heart soared with excitement at the possibilities that lay ahead. If gratitude was the second key, what could love unlock? Would there be even deeper revelations waiting just around the corner? With a renewed spirit, Sarah whispered a prayer of thanks. She was ready for whatever divine lesson awaited her next. What secrets did love hold in store? Would it transform not only her heart but also her path ahead? Sarah sensed that she might be nearing another pivotal moment in her journey, one that could ultimately change everything. The atmosphere within the chapel grew heavy with anticipation as the storm raged on outside. The congregation, infused with love and vulnerability, began to settle into a profound silence. Sarah felt the weight of collective hope swirling around them, an embrace more encompassing than any physical shelter. As the pastor wrapped up the prayer, he raised his hands, inviting them all into a shared meditation. "Let us breathe together," he said, and the room followed his lead, inhaling deeply, then exhaling slowly as if letting go of every doubt and fear that had clung to their spirits. A gentle warmth enveloped Sarah, pulling her deeper into the moment of stillness. She closed her eyes, allowing the chaos of the storm to fade. Voices of her fellow believers became the backdrop to her thoughts, each heartbeat a reminder of the bond they now shared. Throughout her life, she had battled the inner voice of overthinking, but in this sacred space, clarity began to seep through. "God," she silently prayed, her heart open, "show me what I need to see. Let love illuminate my path." Just then, the pastor spoke again, breaking the silence with a voice imbued with conviction. "Today we unlock the third key, the key of grace. Grace isn't just a gift we receive. It's a gift we share. This very moment is a chance to extend grace, to ourselves and to others." His words settled on the congregation like warm sunshine breaking through clouds. Sarah reflected on the notion of grace. Could she allow herself to be vulnerable enough to embrace it? To let go of the tight grip of self-recrimination and guilt? As if in response to her silent questioning, the choir began to sing. Their voices intertwined, magnifying the love in the room. The harmonies swelled, washing over Sarah like a cool stream on a hot day. With each note, burdens released, and the darkness of overthinking began to dissolve. She felt lighter, freer, each chord pulling her closer to the truth that grace was available to her. A balm for her weary heart. A soft light now flickered within her, illuminating memories of moments when she had been too hard on herself. "I am enough. I am worthy of love and grace," she whispered to herself, the affirmation buoyantly echoing in her heart. When the song came to an end, the pastor encouraged a moment of reflection. Think of someone in your life who needs grace today. It may be someone you've struggled to forgive, he said. Let us take a moment to lift that person in prayer. Sarah felt a nudge to think of someone close to her, someone she had often let her overthinking cloud her love for. As she prayed, she felt her spirit softening, an opening of her heart toward forgiveness. It was liberating. Instead of feeling shackled to her past grievances, she realized that grace bestowed upon others only magnified grace within herself. What amazing freedom awaited us in grace, the pastor declared, his voice rising with fervor. Let us become channels of that grace in our everyday lives. Let us unleash it into our families, workplaces, and friendships. That is how love transforms. That is how we live not in fear, but in faith. With these words, Sarah understood that her journey was not just about her own lessons. It was also about how she interacted with the world around her, how she shared that love and grace. Would she have the courage to embody grace in times when it felt most distant? As the storm began to recede, the chapel was alive with discussions, hugs, and smiles among the congregation. The air was charged with hope and newfound energy, making Sarah's heart beat faster with excitement for the days ahead. What awaited her beyond this moment? How would love and grace intertwine in her life moving forward? She felt marinated in mystery and divine potential. Was she ready to unlock the next door that faith would reveal? The journey was unfolding, and Sarah was eager to see what awaited her on the other side. As the congregation began to mingle and share their thoughts, the gentle crack of thunder rolled outside, reminding them of the storm's recent fury. Yet within the chapel all felt calm, as if the air itself had been blessed by the warmth of their hopeful connection. Sarah lingered in her spot, absorbing the energy swirling around her. She opened her eyes and watched her fellow brothers and sisters in faith, their faces aglow with relief and joy. Laughter danced through the room, the sound echoing off the wooden beams and filling the vast space with a sense of community. In that moment, Sarah realized it wasn't just about what was shared in silent prayer. It was about how they carried one another's burdens, how they helped each other unlock those heavy doors that held back light and love. "Thank you, Lord," Sarah murmured, her heart swelling with gratitude. The pastor's message had shifted something deep within her. Though she had long grappled with the shadows of her thoughts, today felt different. Today, she felt the beginning of healing, a slight crack in the hardened shell of doubt that had surrounded her. "Sarah," a familiar voice called, snapping her from her reverie. It was Miriam, her cheerful friend, who appeared with arms open wide. They embraced, and Sarah felt the warmth of genuine affection. "What a service! Isn't it amazing how those songs filled the room with peace?" Miriam exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "I felt like I could finally breathe again." "Did you have a moment of grace yourself?" Sarah nodded, compelled to share her experience. "I think I finally saw how I can give grace, even to myself. It's a bit scary, but I felt lighter." "That's incredible," Miriam said, squeezing her hand. "We can be our own worst enemy sometimes. We have to remember that God's love is bigger than our mistakes." With Miriam's words as fuel, Sarah felt her spirit lift. It was like a gentle breeze on a sun-drenched day, reminding her of the beauty in connection and the strength of faith. They continued to chat, reflecting on what they had learned, and the heartbeat of the congregation pulsed around them, weaving stories of divine intervention and newfound hope as the chapel's doors swung open. A cooler breeze drifted in, igniting a gentle shiver along Sarah's skin. She focused on that coolness, feeling it whisper of change. "God, what would you have me do?" she thought. Just then, the pastor called everyone's attention again, his voice cutting through the convivial atmosphere. "As we prepare to leave, let us remember what we've learned today. Grace is more than a word, it's action." This week, I encourage each of you to share your grace with a stranger, perhaps through a kind word or a small deed. It might change their entire day. A wave of anticipation swept through the crowd, each heart beat like a drum in unison, ready for action. But as Sarah stood among them, a flicker of uncertainty flickered within her. Could she truly take the step to share grace outwardly? Could she become a living testament to this beautiful concept? A soft whisper filled her spirit, yes. It was a gentle reassurance that connected her faith with a divine promise. Sarah felt the thrill of embarked purpose entwine with the tendrils of apprehension. Each question held the promise of new understanding. With joy and determination blooming, she moved toward the chapel exit, exhilarated yet contemplative. "Will I have the courage to step towards that stranger?" she mused. "What awaits me in Grace's journey?" The chapel doors closed behind her, leaving the echo of hope and grace behind, as she ventured into the world now poised to act. The challenges of the week lay ahead, waiting to be met by Sarah's newfound determination. What surprises awaited her within that embrace of grace? The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a soft golden glow across the street as Sarah stepped outside the chapel. The warm light wrapped around her like a comforting embrace, urging her to take the first step on her journey of grace. As she walked down the familiar path, each step felt heavy yet electrifying, charged with the possibility of transformation. The smiles of passers-by were like beams of light. Inspired, Sarah mused, what if each one of them carries a story that needs a little grace? She quickened her pace, her heart set on openness. What would it look like for her to sprinkle kindness into the lives around her? She spotted Mr. Thompson, the elderly man who lived a few doors down. He was often seen seated on his porch, his face etched with worry. Today, he sat hunched over, his frail frame deflated. Everything within her whispered to reach out and offer him a flicker of the grace she had received. "Good afternoon, Mr. Thompson," she called, mustering as much cheer as she could. His head lifted slowly, eyes narrowing from the sunlight, but a faint smile began to form. "Ah, Sarah, my dear. "What brings you this way?" he replied, his voice cracked yet warm. "I thought I'd check in. How are you doing?" she asked gently, stepping closer. He looked away for a moment, a shadow crossing his face. "It's been a bit rough. A lot on my mind lately," he admitted, "just trying to make sense of it all." Sarah's heart ached at his words. She remembered the pastor's message, grace in action. What if I could help lighten that load? She thought. "May I sit with you for a while?" she asked, hope shining in her eyes. Mr. Thompson waved her over, grateful for the company. They talked about everything: the weather, memories of better days, and the community that surrounded them. Each word felt like a small step toward uplifting spirits, and Sarah sensed the walls around Mr. Thompson start to soften as the sky deepened into twilight. They shared laughter and stories. Somehow, amidst the sharing, Sarah realized that while she had come to offer grace, she left with it in abundance. The moment solidified a truth in her heart. Kindness not only heals the broken but enriches the giver. Feeling lighter, she bid Mr. Thompson farewell, glancing back at his gentler smile. There it was, a flicker of hope that her small act had ignited. Looking ahead, Sarah felt emboldened. She had shared not just a word of kindness, but a piece of her spirit. With newfound determination fueling her steps, Sarah continued down the street, pondering how she might continue this flow of grace into the fabric of her daily life. Each person she encountered felt like another opportunity for connection. The spark of divine purpose was guiding her, illuminating a path she had not seen before. Arriving at the community park, Sarah noticed a group of children playing soccer. Their joy bubbled into the air, an infectious laughter that echoed around her. Would grace extend to them? What if I could encourage and uplift them today? She pondered. The thought filled her with excitement. Why not join them? As she clapped and cheered for their efforts, the children turned, their faces glowing with surprise and delight. "Come play with us," one shouted, inviting her into their world of innocent joy. In that moment, Sarah understood grace was not just about large acts but simple gestures that brought light. "God, show me the way," she whispered, feeling the warmth of divine encouragement. Unbeknownst to her, the week would hold even more lessons about grace's reach. As she played, laughter mingled with prayer, filling the evening air with possibility. What other moments would come her way? Each beckoning call of grace held the promise of divine adventure. The journey was just beginning. The game unfolded before her like a tapestry of joy, each kick of the ball a note in a melody of laughter. Sarah joined in, her heart open and free, mirroring the whimsy of childhood. As she wove between the players, she felt burdens lift, and the world felt lighter. Each cheer from the kids ignited a fire within her, a reminder that even small moments could produce great light. Over here, a girl called, her bubbly excitement igniting a ripple of energy. With each pass and goal, Sarah found herself wrapped in pure, unfiltered happiness. Yet, amidst the laughter, a thought flickered in her mind. What if I could do more? Share this grace in a deeper way. The longing to extend kindness beyond mere excitement glimmered like the stars above them as the sun sank lower, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. The children finally slowed, breathless from their play. They flopped onto the grass, satisfied smiles adorning their youthful faces. Sarah, leaning against a tree, took in the moment, grateful for the community and the connections being forged. But that subtle flicker still beckoned her. "Hey, Miss Sarah," one of the boys shouted, breaking through her thoughts. "Will you tell us a story?" At first, she hesitated, unsure of what tale could match the magic of their lively game. But as she glanced around at their eager faces, inspiration struck. "What about a story of kindness?" she proposed, heart racing. In her mind's eye, she recalled tales filled with wisdom and hope, stories that twinkled like stars against the night sky. With a gentle nod and a smile, she began weaving a narrative, one of a young girl who shared her blessings with others, despite her struggles. As images danced in her mind, words flowed freely from her heart. Each tale seemed to resonate, and she saw it reflected in their enchanted expressions. In the warmth of their laughter and expressions of wonder, She felt embraced once more by grace, both as the giver and the receiver. When the sun finally slipped below the horizon, leaving only the afterglow, the children stood, now buzzing with excitement. "Let us be kind like the girl in the story," piped up a girl with pigtails, her eyes sparkling with determination. "Yeah. Let us help someone tomorrow," another echoed, nodding vigorously. Sarah felt a swell of joy and pride. The children were not just hearing her words. They were integrating them into their very beings, ready to live out this grace. What joy it brought her to witness such transformation in those so young. Perhaps her story was a seed, planted in fertile ground as she bade them farewell, promising to meet again the next day. A new understanding bloomed in her heart. The divine had not only guided her to these moments of connection but was asking her to prepare for even greater opportunities to foster not just kindness but a community of grace. Walking home under the blanket of stars, she felt small whispers of inspiration touch her. What could she do tomorrow? Who might she encounter that needs a piece of this grace? As the evening air pulled gently at her, Sarah knew she was on the brink of a revelation, an understanding that branches beyond the ordinary. A divine awakening. Each step home became a prayer of curiosity, anticipation swirling in her spirit. What if tomorrow was the day that changed everything? In her heart, Sarah sensed an approaching revelation, knowing her adventure with grace was just beginning to unfold into something beautifully unexpected. What awaited her in the days to come. The morning light seeped gently through Sarah's curtains, illuminating her room in a soft golden hue. She could hear birds chirping outside, their early songs a sweet reminder of the day ahead. As she stretched and rose, excitement bubbled within her. A promise danced on the edge of her consciousness. Today felt different. It was a canvas awaiting colors of kindness and grace. Sarah moved through her morning routine with deliberation. Each action, whether pouring her cereal or sipping her coffee, felt infused with intention. She whispered small prayers, asking for guidance. What path should I take today, Lord? How can I share your light? With every sip, she envisioned the children's joyful faces from the previous evening, and the call to serve strengthened in her heart. With renewed energy, she set out, the cool air wrapping around her like a comforting embrace. Each step fueled her anticipation. As she strolled through the neighborhood, the question loomed. Who would she meet today? The world was alive with movement. A neighbor was pruning her roses, their vibrant colors inviting bees and butterflies. Others walked dogs, chatting about life, their laughter filling the air. Yet, Sarah's gaze was drawn beyond the ordinary. It was as if a divine GPS were guiding her steps, leading her to someone in need. Suddenly, she spotted an elderly man sitting on a bench, his weathered hands resting on a cane. He appeared lost in thought, a gentle sadness etched across his face. Without hesitation, Sarah felt the urge to approach him. She could see he carried stories in his eyes, tales of hope, loss, and perhaps forgotten connections. "Good morning, sir," she greeted, her smile warm and sincere. "How are you today?" He looked up, surprised by her presence, and for a moment, the corners of his mouth lifted. Hello there. I'm just thinking," he replied slowly, his voice low but steady. "Thinking can be a heavy load sometimes," she said softly, settling beside him on the bench. "Would you like to share what's on your mind?" A flicker of vulnerability danced across his features, and she listened attentively as he began to unravel. He spoke of loneliness, of memories like ghostly echoes in his heart. Sarah's compassion deepened with each word, recognizing in him the very longing for connection she had once felt. As she listened, she felt her own burdens lift. This was the very essence of grace, to share the weight of another's sorrow. "You know," she said gently, "there's a beauty in sharing our stories. They connect us, even in our struggles." The man nodded, tears glistening in his eyes, as if the act of sharing breathed life back into his spirit. Sarah took a breath, her heart racing with joy. In that moment, she understood her purpose was not just to inspire kindness among the children, but to be an instrument of peace for anyone who crossed her path. When their conversation concluded, she promised to return, hoping to forge a deeper friendship. As she walked away, she felt the warmth of divine love wrap around her, illuminating her spirit with divine hope. Perhaps today had not been a grand spectacle. Yet it was enough a moment of connection, a shared grace. Every interaction held the potential for transformation, no matter how small. And in that realization, she saw the tapestry of life weaving together, each thread a promise waiting to be unveiled. What would tomorrow bring? Who else might cross her path, inviting her to share in their journey? With hope lighting her way, Sarah felt the adventure of grace pulling her forward. What divine surprises awaited her next? The sun rose brighter than ever over St. Mary's, its rays kissing the earth awake with promise. Sarah stood at the edge of the chapel, her heart racing with gratitude and anticipation. The retreat had been more than she could dream of. It was the beginning of a new way of living, one steeped in grace, love, and community. As she stepped inside, the familiar warmth enveloped her. It was a sanctuary of connection, where she had experienced challenges and breakthroughs alongside her fellow believers. Today was special, a culmination of the journey they had all embarked upon together. All around her, faces of friends glowed with newfound light. They had shared tears, laughter, stories, and most importantly, grace, a gift that they resolved to carry out into the world. The pastor's voice resonated through the chapel like music, punctuating the momentous occasion. Today, we celebrate our journey together and seek to sow the seeds of grace that have taken root in our hearts. Each word ignited a flame of hope, pushing Sarah closer to the sacred understanding of her purpose. To be a beacon of light in a world that desperately needed it. As the service unfolded, they sang hymns that rose like incense, filling the air with praises and gratitude. Each note reverberated through Sarah's chest, uniting them in spirit. She could feel the collective heartbeat of every devoted soul, resonating with a deep, unwavering joy. Later, during the communal sharing session, hands shot up, eager voices lifted in testimony. One by one, they reflected on the divine keys that had transformed their lives: surrender, gratitude, community, and above all, love. Their narratives entwined, creating a beautiful tapestry of faith that held them together. Sarah, too, felt that familiar tug in her heart, an urge to share. "I want to express how this journey has changed everything for me," she started, her voice trembling with emotion. "In surrendering my fears, I found freedom. In gratitude, I discovered blessings in abundance. And through love, I've learned the power of connection." Tears streamed down her cheeks, but they were tears of joy. The congregation responded with gentle nods and encouraging murmurs, each one echoing the truth she spoke. In that moment, Sarah realized that their stories were branches of the same tree, each one vital, diverse, yet intrinsically linked by the grace that flowed from God. Each testimony acted like a ripple in a pond, magnifying the reach of their collective faith. As the pastor encouraged an invitation for anyone seeking goddess love, hearts opened wide, and Sarah sensed something magical unfolding. A few individuals stepped forward, their faces reflecting a blend of courage and nervousness. The air crackled with sacred anticipation. And even in the turmoil of their personal struggles, an undeniable peace settled over the congregation like a warm blanket. "God is here," the pastor proclaimed, his arms raised. "Every heart is worthy of his love." The room erupted in applause, and Sarah felt the energy swell, an explosion of hope and faith, igniting new flames within them all. As the gathering drew to a close, an overwhelming sense of fulfillment washed over Sarah. She was no longer a captive of her worries but a vessel of God's grace. She felt emboldened to step out into the world and make an impact, however small. The little acts of kindness she had embraced were now part of her identity. Later that day, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over St. Mary's, Sarah paused at the park where she had played soccer with the children. A sense of wonder filled her soul. Could it be possible that moments of grace and connection could change lives? A small group of children ran by, their laughter ringing like bells in her ears. She caught sight of a familiar face, one of the boys she had encouraged just days ago. "Miss Sarah," he called out, stopping in his tracks, eyes wide with excitement. "We remembered your story. We helped this old lady today. We took her groceries up the stairs." His joy was contagious, igniting a spark within her. "Spirit, you're living the story," Sarah cheered, her heart soaring. As she watched them run away, camaraderie echoed in her heart. She realized grace had taken root not just in her, but had begun a ripple effect in others, spreading the light of love to unexpected places. Feeling a sense of divine assurance, she whispered a prayer into the dusk. "Lord, may I continue to see opportunities to share this grace every day." With the promise of a new dawn ahead, she stepped forward, ready to embrace whatever lay in store. The journey had just begun. Now it's your turn to respond to the call of grace in your life. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It matters. Comment below with your reactions and testimonies about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. This is the moment to show your support and be a true servant of God. Don't let it pass.